Hello, this is Matt Ricardo, and I've barged into your ears to tell you that my new book, The Magic in You, is now available to pre-order from all your favourite book buying places. The Magic in You is a compendium of amazing things that you, yes, you can learn to do. From baffling magic tricks to incredible circus skills to hilarious comedy, sneaky spy tricks and mind-blowing science experiments. Everything from picking locks to levitating. Yes, really. But while you're mastering all those amazing skills, you'll also be learning how to be smarter, kinder, more creative, more confident and more empowered to be whatever or whoever it is that you want to be. It's great for anyone aged 9 and above, and I really hope you check it out. Oh, and also, I love your shoes. Bye!
You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense.
Hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast that's suitable for all ages from to and everything in between. I'm Tiernan, and look everyone, this week's most important bit is a long one. I mean, it's important, but it's long, and so I'm not going to chat to you much beforehand. Am I, Linda? Linda! I'm not going to chat much at the top of the show, am I, Linda? Well, it seems she isn't going to either. Typical Linda. I do have time, though, to quickly read one message in the mailbag this week. This is from Esme, who sent me a picture of what looks like a strange, yelling blue baby, and she's just written, Bibble will rise. I see. Well, thanks for warning me, Esme. Is Bibble currently asleep now, then? What time does Bibble usually wake up, and why do I need to know about it? Oh, wait, unless Bibble is a bread. Is it? Are they? Are they bread? Will they rise, and then I can cut a few slices and have a Bibble sandwich? I'm a bit worried that you're telling me this, expecting me to get something ready for Bibble rising, and I'm not really sure what that is or when it's going to happen, but thank you for the warning, Esme. Okay, now, if you want to send me strange messages about the rising of Bibbles or anything else, or you want to send in a question that needs to be answered, or anything else at all, then please get your nearest stupefied twits. Sorry, I mean grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. And if they would like to help support this show happening, then they can pay a small monthly fee to subscribe you to the advert-free Linda edition on Apple Podcasts, Acast Plus, or at patreon.com/Comedy Club for Kids. And you also heard at the top of the show an advert for my friend and magical showman extraordinaire Matt Ricardo, who is very funny and can do some truly incredible tricks and juggling wizardry. He is going to be an expert on this podcast soon, but his new book, The Magic in You, is very, very good, and you can pre-order it now if you would like to learn how to do things like appear to be levitating, make coins appear from nowhere, or just be more confident about performing. Do check it out, and there are, of course, many links in the podcast blurb. Now look, this week's Importantest bit is long, but it is a very importantest bit, and as you might hear, I have a very croaky voice as I talk to this week's expert. So enjoy me sounding like I have all of the frogs in my throat, and have a listen to this week's most importantest bit. I am very excited that here, for the first time on Radio Nonsense, we have the UK's premier ghost bicycle expert, giving ghosts a more environmentally friendly option to ghost ships or ghost trains. Yes, it is Steffan Alun. Steffan, how are you doing?
I am very well. Can I correct your pronunciation of my name?
You can indeed, please do, yes.
So my name is Steffan Alun, which is Welsh. So
it's Alun.
Pronounced...
Yes. I'm so sorry. I went for Alun. I went for a deeper version.
Yeah, and this is a big problem in the ghost-based bicycle industry, because if you come and see Steffan Alun, I think that's got the vibe of someone who deals in spiritual, supernatural vehicles.
Yes.
Whereas if you come to see Alan, you know, a lot of people come thinking I'm Halfords.
Right, yes, and that is a problem. And I do have to put. I mean, I'm sure, not that it helps, but a lot of people look at my name and they see how it's spelt, and they might call me Tim Doobie or Tuan Dawab, and I'm like, no, none of those are right. So I sympathise and I apologise. And also, I do know that Steffan Alun is out there doing some very boring seminars, and I wouldn't want you to be confused with him, because I know what you do is quite exceptional.
Well, absolutely. I mean, people do not realise how many carbon emissions are coming directly from ghosts now.
Yes, yes.
Often the ghosts of wasteful people. I think, they're still on plastic straws in the ghost community.
Wow.
Because, of course, a lot of them are from the past. A lot of Victorian factory owners are ghosts now, which, makes sense when you think about it.
Yes, it really does. And I suppose the thing that I'd be interested in, because if they're using plastic straws, do the plastic straws have to be ghosts of plastic straws? And if so, how? They must be very old, because they take quite a while to degrade.
Yeah, it takes such a long time for a plastic straw to rot that, they're only just starting to come through now, the plastic straws. It depends on what you think killing a straw is, I suppose. I think if you take... I think once there's a hole in the straw,
yes,
and it cannot be used by the living, in fact, that straw's dead now.
Yes, I think it's, and I don't know if you were ever someone who did this, Stefan, but sometimes I would chew a straw as a kid, and I think when a straw has been really chewed to the point it can no longer be drunk from, I think that straw is dead.
Absolutely. Every so often you hear people complaining about the paper straws and going, they get so damaged, they're not very effective. And I think, well, you weren't biting your plastic straws hard enough if this problem is only manifesting now. Yes.
And so I wonder if there are some metal straws out there, I believe, which if you bite them, all your teeth fall out and you have to go to the dentist.
Yeah, I think those are arrogant straws who want to live forever. They are the Cybermen of the straw community, having turned themselves into a metal form that will live forever, but at the cost of their souls.
Yes, yeah. I wouldn't recommend any of the listeners do this, but if you want to destroy them, you have to take a blowtorch into the restaurant with you and melt the straw. I mean, it ruins your drink and it ruins the table and it ruins the restaurant, but it is one surefire way of destroying them.
It's also risky to invest in blowtorch technology. If you buy a blowtorch, the moment it breaks, you have created the ghost of a blowtorch.
Oh, wow!
And so now you've given the ghosts weapons, and they will use them.
Yes, gosh, they will use. What do they use them for? Are they building their own constructions?
They use it. They make ghost cars,
right?
A lot of ghost sightings these days are sort of ghostly chariots, horses, that sort of thing, and they want to bring ghosts bang into the not even 21st. They are happy to settle for the late 20th century, and they want to get their Ford Focuses.
Wow!
But where do you get the tools? Well, you have to wait for the equivalent human tools to die.
Right, that's really tricky, isn't it? And because I suppose that's the issue with cars often don't die; they just get repaired, so they have to then build their own cars using dead tools. Being a ghost, I mean, in a way, while I am very obviously angry and upset that ghosts are polluting, it must be hard having to wait for everything to die before you get to use it.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? They've never seen Star Wars. If you died before Star Wars, because that film hasn't died. Still, people are still watching it to this day. There's many arts films that they have seen because they sort of vanished off the face of the earth.
Right.
And weren't watched. So, ghosts are sort of mostly watching very, very complicated, elaborate, artistic movies that are sort of, stimulate the brain, but are not really good to eat popcorn to.
Wow, they must be so angry. Yeah.
But they have got a lot of popcorn. Popcorn dies all the time. You'd be surprised.
Yes, and it doesn't, not even by eating, just by it not reaching your mouth when you smell it in the cinema and things.
Oh, yeah. The cinema is haunted by It's why they keep building new cinemas. It's because the old ones get too haunted by dead popcorn.
Wow, is that right? And what dangers does that cause? Is it that you can't hear the film for all the ghostly popping sounds?
No, because they'd already popped popped before
Right.
death. Apart from sometimes in the cinema you'll get the seeds of popcorn that haven't popped.
Oh, yes,
and those
the
those
kernels.
also become the kernels.
Yes.
and other military positions as well.
Yes.
And
Well, those are the ones that have reached. I think in popcorn ranking, I believe that you have to become a colonel before you're allowed to be a popcorn.
exactly, yeah. Major popcorn.
Yes.
And so what but they don't pop either. You're not going to hear those kernels popping. If they fail to pop in the heat, their souls are destined to remain unpopped. Now, I know what a spirituologist would say, some sort of ghost expert at this point would say, well, maybe the unfinished business of the kernels is to pop. And so they are actually very pro buying blowtorches because they need to get heat into the ghost community.
Wow.
You blowtorch a kernel, it's popped, and maybe that popcorn can sort of cross over into the afterlife.
Wow. I mean, it's very complex, because I think, and a lot of listeners might not realise this, but we generally think of ghosts as they go around going, woo, they look a bit like someone's got stuck in their duvet and, and they're angry about it. They tend to live in creepy houses. But what you're explaining here is there is a complex ghost society that we do not understand, and they need a lot of things.
They do, but don't let me put misinformation out there. A lot of people these days think a ghost looks like a real living person, but maybe transparent, maybe black and white. No. All ghosts look like a person wearing a sheet.
Right. Is that right? That's
not even remotely transparent. You can physically, you can practically smell the linen.
Wow.
That's what ghosts have always looked like. But Hollywood wants to put out this myth, and I think it's because a lot of actors want to play ghosts, but they want their face to be in the movie. They go, look, if I'm gonna spend months of my life making a film, I want people to know that it was me, Robert Downey Jr. I don't want to spend those months to produce a 2-hour movie where I'm under a sheet for the whole thing.
I should say it is always Robert Downey Jr.
He plays all ghosts.
He always wants to play the ghosts, and it's something about he's done Iron Man, now he wants to be ghosts, and that's.
Oh, he's made so much money from those Iron Man films. He can do only dream projects.
Yes,
and it says only ghosts and the Welsh. That's. If you phone up Robert Downey Jr. now, which I might later, it goes, hello, this is Robert Downey Jr., only ghosts and the Welsh considered.
Wow.
And then there's a beep, but it's like an Iron Man sounding beep. It's like a really complicated sci-fi beep.
Of course.
So that that it's the real deal.
That makes sense. I guess then his real dream project would be playing a Welsh ghost.
Yeah, but there haven't been any. No Welsh person has ever died.
That's what I thought. I had heard that before. There's some people in Wales now who thousands and thousands of years old.
Well, a lot of them will volunteer to kind of retire from life and go and hang out in a graveyard.
Right.
But there's no point, one of them, one of the most famous Welshmen was, of course, Bendigeidfran, who you'll remember as being a giant, and so he was like, do you know what? You might as well bury me. You can bury most of me, and then I could just be a head.
Nice.
And we've made sure that head is pointing at England, so that if anything kicks off, we're ready to go.
That's lovely. And I mean, is he not bored just lying there? I mean, you think, previously as a giant, getting to stomp around, be bigger than things. There's I guess giants have a good life apart from when they have to get on airplanes. Yeah.
Well, he famously didn't like it, because he loves barns, like you get on a farm, and he's never been in one. Oh. And for years that was his dream, was to just be in a barn and smell it, and see the cows, and eventually, actually it was the good people of Ireland built him a massive barn, and once he'd gone in there, he was like, there we go, that's it, I've ticked off everything on my list.
Wow.
Now I'll now get buried up to the neck. Like you bury your siblings on a beach.
Yeah.
Well, we just did that to him, but in Newport.
Wow. And that's really wholesome that he just had that on his list and he ticked it off. And I think that's the sort of thing Robert Downey Jr. needs to learn from, because
Yeah.
if he just wanted a barn, I mean, if he could probably buy one himself now, and then that's it. We could just bury him up to his neck and he could lie there for a while.
Absolutely. I mean, this is most people's main problem with Elon Musk. I understand is he's just never happy. He's the richest man in the world.
Yeah.
And then he's gone. Now what? Do you know what,
Yeah.
Elon? Maybe nothing. Maybe just leave it now.
Yeah, just get a barn. Just sit in a barn.
Get a nice barn. Go and see a dolphin in the wild.
That's a nice goal. Yeah.
It'd be nice.
And then you could just quit. Yeah.
Do you know what he should try? He should try Mario 64. I don't know if he has.
Oh.
And even if he has,
Yeah.
it's an evergreen. Go back to it. You'd be surprised what you've forgotten. You've probably forgotten the second snow level.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That'd be nice. I think if you're the richest man in the world, you should ask everyone else in the world, what would you do if you were rich?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you now, everyone would come up with better ideas than what he does with his time.
Oh yeah, easily. Do you know? I mean, I'd like to find out what you would do, but I'm going to straight out say it. I would have a room with just crisps in it.
The crisp room.
I would have a crisp room. Yeah.
Has any billionaire ever had a crisp room?
I've not heard of it. You never see it in fancy, we do a guided tour of this fancy person's house. They never say, and here's the room they filled with crisps. And they should. Right?
Yeah. Yes. Big room full of crisps. Would it be all crisps of different flavours all mixed up?
Yeah, I think it would almost be like a library of crisps. So whatever crisp you wanted, it would be there. And I think because I'm not selfish, I would definitely have public day. I would definitely have days where the public could go in, or there might be a crisp vending machine outside or something.
Take it from me.
Yeah,
you'll need to hire a librarian for those days.
Sure.
Because eating crisps is a noisy business.
Yeah,
let in members of the public. You're going to need someone to shush them.
Yes, that's a very good point. And do you think would they be a librarian or would they be a crisparian?
Well, I think given that what you've described it as a crisp library, I think we've borrowed. I know library it probably means books in some Latin way, but I think we have a music library, right? And we know that's not
good point.
That's not books, is it? No one's written out the complete steps. The work of Taylor Swift. I mean, I'm sure you can buy books with those in, but all those are is just, how to play it on the piano.
Yes.
If you want to really understand the music of Taylor Swift, and I've always said this, you've got to listen to it.
Yes,
you've got to go to the source material.
I agree. I don't think when she was, setting out singing her song, she thought this would look best written down in a book. I don't think that was how she thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, these people now who say, "Oh, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan," and you go, "What's your favourite song?" and they can name their favourite songs, but then it turns out they've never heard them. They've just read them in books. No.
It's a problem. You can't go. All these media now, people go, "Oh, what's your favourite film?" And for example, Star Wars. Oh, but they haven't seen Star Wars. They've just read the book of Star Wars, which is not the same. Not the same at all.
It's not the same at all. I met someone whose favourite film was Schindler's List.
Yeah.
But they hadn't seen it. They'd just read R.L. Stein's novelization of it.
Yes.
Which, critics say actually makes light of what is quite a serious film because there's zombies in the book, which are, is quite bad taste.
Right. Wow. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's just all these people who really think that they're super smart because they're going for the books, but they're missing out on a lot of the, I don't know, the real kind of feeling or the vibe of the original. I mean, and I think this is part of my thought behind a crisp library, is I know there's people out there not eating crisps but reading the books of the crisps. And
tell me about it.
That's not right. I'm sorry, that's not right.
My cousin has never tried Skittles, but
wow.
He says, "Well, I've read the book," and I say, "Well, who cares? What's your favourite flavour?" You go, "Oh, I don't know what they taste like." You have not experienced Skittles.
No,
you haven't until you feel the tang of the yellows and greens.
Yes,
and the depth of the purples and reds.
Yes,
and then I've always thought orange. I've always thought the orange Skittle, although it is a citrus fruit like the lemon and lime, I feel like it's friends with the reds and purples. It's got the vibe of a berry.
Oh, definitely. Yes, I agree with that. And I mean, it should be said that the phrase is "taste the rainbow, not read the rainbow."
Exactly. Yes.
Yes, it's very important.
It would be like saying, "Oh, I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings," when all you've done is eat the sweets.
Yes, yeah, which and they do not. I have to say, don't eat a sweet that tastes like a goblin. It is really awful. It is an awful experience.
Although the ones that taste like elf are sort of bizarrely Ambrosian, sort of quite a delicious, heavenly taste.
Quite nice. Spider Queen, disgusting. Really, that was actually one of the worst flavours. But Sauron sweet's quite tasty, surprisingly.
They did a giveaway. Do you remember when they did a giveaway on the Lord of the Rings sweets, where one packet would include like a free ring?
Yes,
but whoever got it was would become evil.
Yes, but at least it was a gummy ring, so it was quite, you'd enjoy that bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But then it would become part of you and would drive you to commit, terrible acts. I think that person's in government now.
I think so. I think that is what happens. And very, very dangerous sweets. So it was probably quite good they discontinued them. Though if I did have a library of crisps, I would also get a library of sweets just to have those in it. And start the whole...
You'd have to.
Yeah, you'd have to. I do have to ask, Steffan, that I didn't check with you. What would you, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do with it?
Oh, yeah, that's a very good question. I suppose I would have a house with 1,000 rooms.
Oh, wow.
Because I like your crisp idea, and I like the idea that someone visiting, they don't know what they're going to get behind each of those doors.
Wow.
And sure, I'd have your traditional rooms full of crisps and sweets, but I'd also have one room where there's just a person there, and that's it, on a stool,
right?
But and people go, "Who's this?" I'd be like, experience the room, and I would instruct that person to refuse to answer any questions about who they are or why they're there.
That's great.
And I'd have a room I'd have a swimming pool room, but you know what? Like, you might think, oh, you go into the room and there's a swimming pool. No. The entire room is the swimming pool.
Oh, wow.
And so when you open the door, the first thing that happens, of course, is the water all comes rushing out.
Wow, yeah, and then washes you down the hallway.
Yeah, I think that'd be really funny to see. But then you pick yourself up, you go to the room, you close the door. You have to close the door, and then it'll start to refill, and then you can have your nice swimming pool.
Sure, until you then open the door to leave, and then you get washed
Yeah,
away.
It's all again. So also, I mean, this has good synergy with what I would do is just outside that, I'd have a big water slide, like a fun one. So whenever you want to go on the water slide, you just have to open the door.
That's great.
And there'd be big signs up saying caution, wet. But the problem with those signs is often you have to hire people to sort of put them up when the floor's wet and take them away again when they're dry. This would never be dry. This would be
wow.
So you have to be quite rich for it, otherwise you end up with a damp problem.
Yes, absolutely. And is there, are these rooms that people would have to stay in? So if you're like, I'm coming to visit, and then they get there and they go, oh, I have to sleep in the swimming pool room.
Well, right. This is the best bit, right? When someone says to you, "Oh, can I visit?" Or maybe you've done this sometimes. You say to someone, "Oh, I wonder if I could, stay over," and their face is like, because they're going, I don't know where we'd put you. We don't have the spare room. We're redecorating. I mean, you could be on the sofa, but it's a small sofa and all this. I would do that even though I have 1,000 rooms, and I would go through all of them going, I don't know where I'd put you. Like, I mean, I can't put you in the crisp room because that's where I keep all my crisps.
Yes.
And I can't put you in the cinema room because that's haunted by dead popcorn. You wouldn't sleep a wink. I can't put you in the scarf room because, and you might think there's loads of scarves in there. No, just one, but it's a really long one, really, really long scarf.
Yeah, very delicate.
Very, very. Yeah, I can't put you in the scarf room. I can't put you in the cursed room.
Goodness.
Who knows what would happen if I put you in the cursed room? Probably a curse, no doubt, but I don't intend to find out.
No,
I can't
you
put-
wouldn't. Yeah, and you can't put them in the room with that person in because that person's already staying there.
I can't put you in the Taskmaster room because that is where they film the TV show Taskmaster.
Right, of course.
And
of course
not this is not just the studio, like the house itself.
Wow.
Is in that. It's a massive room. You when you see it on TV, you think Taskmaster's filmed. That house is sort of outside, but no, it's if you kept zooming out, you'd realize the entire thing was contained within one room in my house.
My goodness. I mean, this house does sound incredible, and I would say that I'd like to visit, but obviously I wouldn't visit because I wouldn't want
don't
to
know
see
where.
exactly.
I don't know where I
wouldn't want to impose.
I could put you in the Tiernan room.
Oh, is there one of
but-
those?
Yeah, but it's full of clones I've made of you.
Right. Oh, I see. I see.
And they don't get on with each other. I can't imagine you'd like them.
No, I wouldn't like them, especially if they wouldn't get on with me. So, can I ask? Obviously, you've got a Steffan Alun room. Have you got a Steffan Alun room?
Yeah. For whenever he wants to visit.
That's nice. That's lovely. I'm
Yeah,
pleased,
he's
I'm pleased.
welcome anytime.
That's very kind. Well, listen, Steffan, it's so nice to have you on the show, and I do appreciate you taking time in between your very important environmental ghost work to be on this show. And I do have a question that I very much need you to answer. But before I do that, it's your first time on the show, so you might not know this, but I have a couple of admin questions that we do have to ask. How do you feel about admin?
A big fan of admin. That's,
Good.
Yeah, I love it. I love getting to use all the items in a pencil case that you get on your back to school trip. I'm hoping one of these questions will allow me to use the set square and the compass.
Yes, and a protractor. Any protractor in there?
I've definitely with the protractor. I mean, I like to use that. I like to combine that with the compass to make perfect angles.
Well, I mean, I hope that you'll find a good angle on both of these questions, and maybe that can help you out. I should say that I think the first one is easier. The second one, some people might find quite tricky, but take your time, enjoy them. The first question is a matter of rules and regulations. This show is for people of all ages, even Welsh people that have been alive for centuries. It is suitable for people that are only just born, in fact, or in fact are minus ages or bronze ages. So bearing that in mind, I just wondered if you had a rude word that you won't be saying to make sure this show stays safe for everyone.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do have this. I will not be saying the word ffrwchnedd, which is the Welsh word for banana.
Wow.
Because it's got a powerful set of letters that, to a Welsh speaker, it's ffrwchnedd this, ffrwchnedd that. You'd pick up a ffrwchnedd for a bit of potassium. But outside of Wales, those are scary letters to put together. They sound offensive to non-Welsh ears.
They are, and I mean, the listeners are probably very aware. I sound like a jazz singer at the moment with this sore throat, so whether or not I can achieve this. So is it ffrwchnedd? Ffrwchnedd?
That is very close. Ffrwchnedd. So it starts with a double F.
Ffrwch, yeah.
There we go. And then nev, the final letter is like the TH in the word the.
So ffrwchnedd. Ffrwchnedd. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Right. Well, I mean, obviously,
That's
I won't be
spot on.
saying it because I wouldn't dare.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Don't
dare say
say
such a
it.
thing. No, obviously.
Oh, people get very upset.
Yes, and I'm not in Wales. You're in Wales. I'm not in Wales. I'd probably get arrested if I even thought about it.
You would, absolutely. That's one of the new rules from Elon Musk, I think, which for now is only in America, but who knows where it goes. But and actually, he doesn't like the idea of even saying banana in English. I think any allusion to bananas, he's worried, is part of some agenda that will eventually take him down.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a thing, and I suppose that I don't sympathise with him often, but sometimes I do worry how many A's and N's there are in the word banana, and that causes me some panic. So I can see,
you know the answer to that, I'm sure, which is that it's optional.
Is it? You can just add as many as you like, or
a lot of teachers don't know this these days. A lot of teachers, they don't know as much as they think they know, and they think they know how many A's. No, and it's always pronounced banana, but you can keep going A-N for
wow.
Some people in Wales would spell that word for years. They've got the time to kill.
They've got the time, of course. Yeah, and is there a Welsh equivalent where you just add? What would you add? F's to it, or what would the Equivalently.
Welsh. Nah, see, Welsh is very strict on its spelling. It's a purely phonetic language when written. So no, one wrong F in the wrong place, and it looks stupid.
Right.
The Welsh word for license is trwydded, which has a double D in the middle. The double D in Welsh makes an sound. And the local Morrisons has put 3 Ds in it by mistake. You know, someone's typed in an extra D by mistake on the translation of the sign. And that place is absolute bedlam. The normal rules of reality do not apply in that Morrisons. That one misspelling has broken down the natural order. You go in there, bread goes mouldy twice as fast, and then suddenly it's fresh again. What's that all about?
Wow.
People age incredibly quickly, but then the moment they step outside, they're now young again. However, it's also 1986. It's absolute bedlam.
It sounds incredible, but yes, very dangerous. You got to be so careful when you have a language like that at your fingertips.
It's a problem, you know, that Welsh was codified and spelt by Druids, and you must not allow magic users to decide how your language is spelt, because now, every Welsh word, every so often someone will find out. People really like the Welsh phrase for "I like coffee," because the Welsh word for "like" is hoffi, so there's a rhyme. Rwy'n hoffi coffee. But
nice.
If you slightly mispronounce that, you can literally turn someone into a toad, like a proper fairy tale witch.
Wow, that is terrifying. That is really terrifying. And is there? I should say, are there any dangers in mispronouncing? As I'm probably about to do the Frithnev. If I say that wrong, Frithnev, do I get?
So Frithnev is rare in that it's the one. Right. It's the one word where it's more offensive to say it right.
Right, I see. So if anything, I'm doing the world a service by being terrible at Welsh. Yes.
It's fortunate that there are letters in that word that are hard for a non-Welsh speaker to say, because if if an English person were to nail and get just right the pronunciation of the word Frithnev, they could take over the world.
Wow. Well, listen, it's not going to happen for me anytime soon. And obviously, I should say you're not going to say it, and I will not be saying it as well. So I do very much appreciate you taking this podcast very seriously. And
I would never say such a thing.
Not doing that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Steffan. Well, that was question number 1. The second admin question, which I think is hard, but we'll see how you go. Would you rather, Steffan, only be able to say the word beans and no other words, or would you rather be allergic to windows?
Well, I mean, I really like words, and beans isn't even my favourite word.
Wow.
It's
a good word, though.
It's a good word. A bit of beans. Here's a game I like to play. Sometimes I go to a library and everyone's being all quiet, and then I just say the word beans. I don't shout it, but I don't whisper it either. I just sit there saying it. Just go beans. Because, a very switched on librarian will shush you. But most normal librarians, they're undertrained they'll just go, "Why have you said beans?"
Yeah.
But they won't say that out loud. You get inside their heads. And then other people nearby, if you do it at the perfect volume, someone else will be reading a book nearby, and they'll imagine that the word beans has come up.
Amazing.
In their book, and they haven't realised that it's you that said it. And so now they think, they've got to the crucial, twist in George Orwell's 1984, and they think it was beans all along.
Which it should have been, to be honest. I like that book, but that would have been a better ending. As in many cases, it's one of the big problems of all these books people are reading of songs and films, that it's often not beans. And
it's often in the adaptation you'll change it to beans because it's more visual.
Yes.
Of course, famously in the Twilight movies, those vampire romance films based on the books. In the books. That it sort of culminates in a sort of war between vampires and werewolves.
Yeah.
But obviously, in the film, the beans get involved. There's a faction of beans.
Yes.
And that is purely to make the film more visually interesting, to get a bit more orange in the mix.
Yes, and it is. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed that about the films. Actually, I wasn't a fan until the beans until the beans
weren't
joined.
you?
Yeah. No. I
Ah, see, I'm a purist. I think the beans. I think the beans sort of change the tone of it in a way that you get less time enjoying the vampires because there's loads of shots of beans.
Yeah. Team beans. I'm team beans.
It's
all
also
the way.
really unclear how these beans were going to be a rival force to vampires anyway, because they're just beans, aren't they? They don't even move.
Yeah,
So there's just
well, they are.
loads
I
of
mean,
shots
you
of
don't mess
bats.
with beans. I mean, come on, they're beans. You don't mess with beans.
It's true.
Yeah.
So I do like saying the word beans, but I don't think I'd like that exclusively.
Sure.
So I think I would have to accept an allergy to windows.
Right, and would that mean you live in just windowless spaces? Are you sort of retreating to a cave? Or...
No, I'm the sort of person who believes in myself allergy-wise. I'm allergic to cats, but I have never come across a cat that I haven't immediately run up to and rubbed in my face.
Wow.
And has that had long-term effects on my health? Absolutely.
Yes.
Terrible respiration issues. But was it worth it? I put it to you that a life where you're not rubbing your face in random cats on the street.
Yeah.
Some of them scratch me as well, and actually that's less bad than the effect of the allergy. Unless they draw blood and their hair gets in the bloodstream, and then my body sort of fights itself, and I'm rushed into intensive care. So for that reason, very tragically, I was not able to rub my face in cats during lockdown.
Sure.
Because I was doing my bit. I didn't want to put too much strain on the hospitals.
Yeah.
So I had to,
and you must
bide
have
my
felt
time.
awful, but at the same time, much, much better than normal.
Oh, I've never been healthier than I was
Yeah,
during
yeah.
a global health crisis. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's if you're allergic to windows. I mean, and I assume it just says windows, so other glass vessels you'd probably be okay with.
Yeah. Well, I'm not allergic to glass. I'm allergic to the concept of a window.
Yes,
I suppose,
and so that might
which-
be windows on a computer as well.
Oh, that is a problem. Well, that's okay. I'd have to get staff to do my admin
That's
for me,
nice.
which would be sad, but at least I would be able to tell them what to do, which I wouldn't be able to do if I could only say the word beans. So you
That's
gotta.
true. That's true. And you could have a
you know,
room
you
in
gotta
your
balance-
1,000 rooms that doesn't have any windows in it, where you could sit for respite every now and then.
That'd be nice, yeah, I think that'd be good. I think because I suppose the definition of a window is a thing that allows you to see the outside world. So what you could do is you could sort of lash up some sort of lighting system that makes it look like there's a window, but as long as it's light and not a window, not in any way a thing that allows you to see to the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
You could still benefit.
Yes,
Also,
yes.
and this is people who are allergic to, because have you met people who are allergic to windows? Because my gosh, they will complain about their lot in life. But here's the thing: just go outside.
Yes. I mean, it depends on, somebody I met because they were allergic to windows of every type, and they did believe that eyes were the windows to the soul, and so they were allergic to eyes, and that was quite difficult. They had to always wear sort of sunglasses and
Well,
it was tricky.
this is the problem. You have to, you have to unlearn a lot of things, because if you're allergic to the concept of a window, then you've got to unpick all these things that you've assumed about windows and and convince yourself otherwise. And you meet these people sometimes. You meet people who think, I know someone who's allergic to human beings having landed on the moon. So what he's done is he's just convinced himself that never happened.
It's very clever.
And the symptoms go away.
Well, it's very clever. And I think, I trust you, Steffan. I think you would cope with this somehow. You'd find a way, and I think that's a very sensible choice that you've made there. As much as I do love beans, and I don't hold that against you personally that you didn't choose the beans option, but I think thank you for taking that question very seriously.
Beans.
Yeah, exactly. Now, listen, this is the main question. This is the reason I've asked you on the show. And again, as I say, thank you for being here and being up for doing this. This question has come in from, in fact, they say, me, Bob Giffleton, and our 346,733,577,433 seconds old, which is quite old. Do you think they're Welsh?
Well, hang on. Let's. I think we got to convert this, right?
Right,
I mean,
okay.
What was the name of this person? Bob
Bob
Gifferton.
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 Yes.
So Bob Gifferton obviously is of an age to give. I'm going to assume that Bob is male here. You're very welcome to write in again and tell me if I'm wrong.
Of course, yeah.
But Bob, clearly is used to giving his age in seconds, which actually the Welsh never do. The Welsh would only give their age in poetry.
Oh, that's lovely.
They might say something like, when the oldest tree in the country was a mere acorn, I myself was but a boy. And that means they're 39.
Right, got it. That's, wow.
So right, read out that number to me. I'm going to convert it.
Okay, I'll read it. I'm going to read it number by number rather than, so it is,
right.
It is 346 7
346.
Yeah, 7335.
Yeah.
774 335.
So what is that many seconds?
I mean, I should just say here that I'm certain that's because they say seconds old after that, but it could also be that's a telephone number, and if you call it, he shouts, "I'm 43." You know, could be.
So I don't know if people listening had an idea of how many. I mean, billions of seconds is still billions of something that is quite short, isn't it?
Yes.
So I thought maybe Bob was going to be. I don't know if you had an idea in your head roughly of like how old that would be. I think I was expecting him to be about maybe 100 years old.
Yeah.
He is in fact well over 109,948 years old.
Wow.
And a half, actually. I'll include the half.
Great.
So the next question I would ask is, what was that many years ago? Are we in dinosaur time? No, we're in the glacial period.
Yes, right.
Which might explain how he's so old, because the glacial period was full of ice, and things last longer on ice, don't they? Like in my freezer.
Yes,
I've got a curry in my freezer that's been there since 2008, and that's still, I'm confident that is still tasty the moment I choose to eat it.
Oh, absolutely will be. That's how freezers work. They just, I mean, I'm pretty sure that there are dinosaurs that are frozen. At some point, they'll come back and, we'll open a park or something. I'm sure that's how it's going to work.
Oh, that'd be nice. A nice little park.
Nice park, yeah.
And are we talking a theme park or like a rose garden type park? Something you can have a nice walk in?
I'd go for Rose Garden, I think, with just sort of T-Rexes stomping around. I think it'd be very calm and relaxing, and evidence of that so far shows that everyone would just have a very nice time.
That would be good.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good if you went to see a Jurassic Park film. Why is it always got to go wrong? What if it was just 2 hours of enjoying the lovely dinosaurs?
And what if it was just a Brontosaurus on some swings,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a Stegosaurus on a roundabout.
Yes, exactly.
And I know, I can hear Steven Spielberg now saying, the cost of that big a roundabout. But, you can do a lot with CGI these days.
Yeah, and it wouldn't cost as much as all the damage those dinosaurs caused in his film. So, frankly, exactly. Steven Spielberg knows nothing. That's all I say.
Something people don't realise is that making CGI dinosaurs is so expensive. It's actually cheaper just to resurrect some actual dinosaurs, and that's what they do.
Exactly. And I should say, though, it is expensive, but still, don't read the book. Go, see the film. You got
to see the film.
Yeah. So I do have to say...
With Jurassic Park, you could eat the sweets. They're actually very faithful to the film.
Yes, they taste just like eating a dinosaur. Yeah.
In the same way that people say that Muppets Christmas Carol is actually a surprisingly faithful version of the Charles Dickens novel, even though there's Muppets in it, it's actually more accurate than a lot of other film adaptation. The Jurassic Park sweets, like I remember tasting one and going, "Oh, I finally understand, why people love Laura Dern's performance so much in Jurassic Park."
That's a very good point. Very good point. Well, I should just say that Bob Gifferton, who is, from the Ice Age, we can assume, he's been alive that long. He's got a very important question, and I think we have to take that seriously, because someone that's lived that long, they've probably answered a lot of things in their life.
That's true.
But Bob Gifferton's question, and this really does show how deeply he's thought about this probably for quite a long time. Bob Gifforton says, "Why does my dog eat her poo?"
Well, it's complicated, isn't it? I mean, it's interesting that after 110,000 years on the planet, that this is a mystery that Bob hasn't solved.
Yes, and I don't know if Bob's dog is that old as well. I should just say, I don't know if Bob's dog.
No, the
is
dog.
from the
I
Ice
can't
Age.
imagine
No,
so.
No.
I imagine the dog is a relative. Maybe Bob's never had a dog before.
Very possibly. Yes,
and you can't teach an old Bob new dogs.
Whoa, that's a very famous phrase. Yes.
You hear it all the time,
All the time, yes.
Never more apt than it is here. Why do let's? I suppose there's a number of reasons why anyone might eat their own poo. It's the fact that she's eating her own poo. This dog. I don't know.
Trust other poos. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't eat the poo of another.
No, you don't know what they've eaten, so it could be awful.
Would you rather, Tiernan? Would you rather eat your own poo or the poo of a random stranger?
Well, no, I'd have to eat my own because I don't know if that random stranger has eaten the ring from Lord of the Rings, and then I'm in all sorts of trouble when I eat their poo.
Yeah.
And
become the president of the United States.
Well, exactly. So I don't want that to happen to me. Whereas if I eat my own poo, I know I've mostly had crisps. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
If I've seen your poo, it's just crisps again, isn't it?
Crisps,
It's not.
Yeah, it's very.
It just comes
very
out
uncomfortable
as fully formed
as a poo to have. Yes.
They've not even snapped.
No,
it's a medical miracle.
Yes, doctors are concerned but impressed. Yes. That is true.
and they still and it's what's amazing. They've retained the flavour they had on the way in. So,
yes.
You go, well, that's demonstrably prawn cocktail. That one is clearly salt and vinegar. There's been no mixing and matching whatsoever.
No. It's a very special skill that I have, and I am proud and worried about it at the same time.
Do you remember that time? We did a gig together in Cardiff, and you pooed directly into a Pringles tin, and to all the world, it just looked like that tin had never been opened.
Yes. Once you poop, you can't stoop, I think I said. That was my classic line. And it didn't get the applause because I think people were very upset.
Well, they were quite drunk in that gig, weren't they?
Yes,
Do you remember?
Were, yes.
And I think they couldn't understand what they were seeing with a man producing a tube of crisps, with his own body.
Yes.
They weren't ready for that.
I won't lie. I stopped doing that at the end of shows. I realised that it wasn't what the people wanted.
Yeah.
So yes,
they wanted mostly jokes, I think, didn't they?
They did, and that wasn't a joke. It was a very real biological experiment, I think. Yes,
but it's a shame, one of my favourite comedians I've ever saw was in the mid-90s. A man resurrected a dinosaur live on stage, and I thought, and it was really funny. I know, it sounds quite serious, but actually, it was a laugh.
Yeah, sounds brilliant. And again, if only people were taking that seriously, could have saved Steven Spielberg a lot of money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Well, but I mean, in the case of Bob Gifforton's dog, do you think that she is just a discerning dog that is only happy to eat what she's eaten again, or is there another reason, or what do you think she's going for?
Well, I don't know if you've ever eaten something and thought, and then you sort of forget what it tastes like, don't you? My father-in-law used to buy these snacks that he'd loved in his youth. But he'd grown up, very, very poor, and so an awful lot of the things he liked were objectively disgusting, but he was sort of used to it and associated it with his childhood. And then he would, bring them into the house, and we, his family, would try one, and it was completely disgusting. But it had a magical quality where whenever you weren't eating it, you could not remember how disgusting it was.
Right.
And so you had to sort of go back and go, it can't have been that bad. Because most things that are disgusting, you'd never eat the thing again.
Yes.
And yet with these, it can't be that bad. And you'd eat it again and go, no, it was. That was absolutely foul. So maybe that dog, dogs can't communicate with humans necessarily very well because only a small handful of dogs can talk.
Yes, of course. Yeah. We all know. Yeah.
Your Beethovens, your Andrex puppies,
your Scooby-Doos,
but I mean, I don't want to speak shame a dog. I mean, Scooby-Doo's talking isn't.
It's
No,
not,
do you know what? No.
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 He
I'm
does
not
very
gonna...
well for a dog. I think he's a bloodhound, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You know, he does very well for you've got big jowly cheeks. It's not going to be easy.
But is Scrappy-Doo not the exact same breed?
Yeah, but Scrappy Doo learned to speak English from a young age. You know, whereas Scooby Doo obviously would have been later on.
Yeah.
So and dog was his first language. I think Scrappy Doo had English as his first language. So it's different.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So English was my second language,
Right.
and now I feel a kinship to Scooby Doo.
Yes, and you should. Yeah.
What's interesting, I suppose, Scooby Doo has that's as names go.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're
yeah.
going to get taken seriously in the world if you're a Scooby Doo, but English is his second language, so that's fair enough.
Yes.
Scrappy Doo has brilliant grasp of English,
Yes.
and genuinely thinks Scrappy Doo is a good name.
Well, you
about
don't
his
get to
business.
choose your own names. It would have been his parents. You know,
That's
we
true.
assume he's Scooby's nephew. We don't know who Scrappy's parents were, and that was what they named him. And they may not have had any sort of sense of what the word Scrappy. I mean, if anything, it sounds like they weren't sure about a name, and they were quite scrappy about what to choose, and that's what they.
I mean,
went for,
I think it's clear. You know, if you watch enough Scooby Doo, you can tell from context that Scrappy Doo's parents, died in an aeroplane crash. And,
right. Oh, dear. That's awful.
And originally there were there were godparents who took Scrappy in for a while, but they found Scrappy very hard work, and then they had a child of their own, and also they were kangaroos, so
Right. It's a big
they
deep
didn't.
past to this. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Scrappy ends up hanging out with Scooby, but Scooby's no sort of role model. Scooby lives a life of mostly, eating sandwiches and vigilante justice.
Yes. Yeah.
Scooby-Doo investigates crimes that are none of his business. He does not have the authority
No.
in any way.
That's true.
And going into theme parks and mines and whatnot, and what people don't realize is a lot of those theme park owners dressed as ghosts, in sheets. So I'll give them points for accuracy.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
But a lot of those cases don't stand up in court because all the evidence was so contaminated by the mystery machine gang.
Yes. Scooby is a real troublemaker, actually, when you put it like that, and it's something that we don't. And I also say that we never saw Scooby eating his own poo. I don't really know how.
No, but we also don't know what a Scooby snack is.
No, true. So it could well be Scooby.
Those
poo.
could be Scooby's own
yeah.
poo, Scooby poo.
Yes, it's very. I mean, I need to just sort of say, actually, Steffan, is there one thing that we aren't thinking about? Could it be that Bob Gifforton's dog's poo is actually delicious, and we assume it's dog poo, therefore it's disgusting? But could it be that Bob Gifforton's dog poo's the most delicious thing anyone's ever seen, and that's why his dog eats it?
That's not impossible. I mean, I don't know. I think of all the dogs I've known, the one who had the most delicious poo was a Brittany Spaniel called Robber.
Oh, yeah.
Whose poo was sort of cold and creamy and tasted, it was exactly like chocolate ice cream. It was delicious.
Wow!
It's really
but you would
nice.
have had to try it to know that.
Well, yeah, which I only did as a dare initially, and then my eyes lit up. I was like, I've got away with murder. It was one of those things where it was like, I'll give you $1 million if you eat that poo.
Wow!
And I was like, this is it ended up being win-win.
And that's how you bought your 1,000-room house.
No. I don't have that house yet because I've still got it in dollars.
Oh, of course,
and
of course.
I don't know. I don't know where you change your dollars into pounds. So I don't know.
I've got no idea. I don't think it's possible.
No one knows that.
It's a real shame.
But if I ever go to America, I'm a millionaire.
Wow. Well, maybe one day. Maybe that'll happen. Yeah. Yeah. Good luck to you. Well, listen. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. I hope that sort of Bob Gifforton feels like that question is answered. It's a tricky one. It's a very hard one.
Bob
as
Gifforton,
yeah.
do you know the way that question is phrased, where he goes, "I am this many thousands, billions of seconds old," and that is how. It's funny, isn't it? The older we get, the more unnecessary information we put in before we ask a question.
Yes.
You know, like my grandmother would go, "I remember in 1948, I had this neighbour, and of course we were still on rationing. Anyway, can you clean the drains?" That was all her questions were like that.
Yes. Well, that's Bob is very, very old. So, what we probably don't know is that there was a good book length, probably story before that question that got edited before it was sent to me, and also I wouldn't have had time to read it on the show, so it makes sense. Yeah.
Do you think he's related to Tamara Gifforton, the famous ghost hunter?
Almost certainly. Yeah.
I don't like her.
Right.
Because she eats into my sales.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, listen. I'm sorry to have posed a question to you from an arch enemy or a relative of an arch enemy, and I'm sorry, but I appreciate that you took the time to answer it. So thank you for that. It's very civil of you. And I appreciate you coming on the show too, Steffan. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's
been wonderful.
Obviously, you're going to be alive for eternity. Have you got much coming up in eternity, or?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, if it's still on the iPlayer, I would like to recommend my new TV show, An Academy Comedy. So it is Welsh, but you can watch it with subtitles, and it's brilliant. It's a show where 7 kids in Wales who are really funny come to my academy and learn more skills of how to be funny in different ways, all culminating in a big show that they put on in a proper comedy club. Oh, wow. So if you've ever sort of fantasized about, being taken out of school and going away to a massive, there was a swimming pool in that school. It was amazing. And
wow.
And yeah, 7 incredibly funny kids aged between 9 and 11. They're just, do watch their journey. It's a 6-part series that's only just started. And that's Academy, but with an I at the end. And if you imagine the word comedy, but with a G at the start and an I at the end.
Wow.
And that's on iPlayer now.
Fantastic, brilliant. Well, I hope people will check that out. Fantastic. And you don't say the word for banana in there, do you?
No. Obviously, the kids said it a lot, but it all got cut in the edit.
Oh, good. I'm very pleased to hear it. Otherwise, it would have been awful. But thank you so much, Steffan. And listen, good luck with the ghost advising. Good luck with the 1,000-room house too. And hopefully, we'll get to speak to you soon.
Thank you, Tiernan.
Thanks so much to Steffan Alun for taking time out of his job at Ghost Transport Improvement to help Bob Gifforton answer their question. If you're in the UK, you can watch Steffan on Academy Comedy on the iPlayer, which is in Welsh, but does have subtitles too. It is a brilliantly fun show, and the kids Steffan teaches comedy to are excellent. I'll also pop a link to it in the podcast blurb. Bob, I do hope you liked your answer, but if not, why not put any complaints you have into one of your dog's poos, and then she'll eat it, and I'll never have to see it. Although I suppose she'll then poo it out again, but then she'll eat it again, and then she'll poo it out again, and then she'll eat it again. If you have a question that you need to have answered, or you want to send in anything else at all, then please ask your nearest stupefied twit, grown-up, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. And of course, if they would like to support this show by signing you up to the advert-free Linda edition, that would be marvellous. Do also check out comedyclubforkids.co.uk for all of our live shows too. And that is it for this week's show. What is that? Oh, how weird. A strange blue baby is just floating up past the window into the sky. Absolutely no idea what that is about. Very odd. Bibble to you too. Oh, what a polite baby. Bye.
You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents. Radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. seasons, it's the end.